welcome to another show. I'm Zane Marshall.
And I'm Leandra Banks.
And today we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about spirituality. Now, it's not just about what goes on in church. Spirituality has many different avenues in which you just know or may think of when you hear the term. Now, Leandra's going to take you through that.
Like Zane said, spirituality is not just about going to church. Everybody that goes to church isn't spiritual, and everybody that's spiritual doesn't go to church. So there's many different avenues that you can express yourself through spirituality, figuring out who you are on the inside. So I want to read you guys a little sentence that I found fascinating that might explain a little bit more about what I'm saying. So, and it says, and I quote, "Spirituality exists wherever we struggle with issues on how our life fits into the greater scheme of things."
Now, spirituality to me is like me expressing myself, and what I do through that is I sometimes write. I'll go to the gym and work out. That put me in like a feeling of relaxation. Me writing is like me pouring out like everything I went through that day or everything that I went through during that moment.
I express myself through spirituality. I am one of those people that go to church and pray and, you know, say my grace and just different things like that. So there's many different ways you can express yourself through spirituality. Like Zane said, he works out, and I'm one of those church-going people. And there's other people that are those people that meditate and contemplate and different things like that. So don't ever think that spirituality is just one specific topic and that's just
Right.
going to church, because
Or,
it's not.
you know, like your personal beliefs, like in the person you worship. Like spirituality goes beyond the walls of that. Like spirituality is like so many things impacted into like one. We're gonna take you guys through some footage of which we documented, me and Leandra, and just show you how we captured our spirituality.
You can do whatever you want to do. The sky's the limit. You just have to go out there and meet the challenge.
Let's tell Johnny the safe way to get off there behind. No justice! No peace!
An organization is only as strong as the people who run it.
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
Love thy neighbor. Thank you.
I'm Reverend Graylin Hagler. I'm pastor of Plymouth Congregational United Church of Christ here in Washington, D.C. Well, Plymouth was started in 1881. So we just had our 130th anniversary. The other history I point out is that Plymouth is what we call, particularly in the congregational movement, one of the AMA churches, which means American Missionary Association. And the American Missionary Association got its start originally known as Friends of La Amistad, which was the uprising that took place on the ship Amistad. And I tell you that because one of the things that happened after the Civil War was this group, which was originally called the Friends of La Amistad, became known as the American Missionary Association. And the American Missionary Association, after the Civil War, became very involved in planting what we know today as historically black colleges and universities. Howard University was one of those AMA schools. Fisk and Talladega were other AMA schools. Wall Street impacted in such a way that we see it manifest through unemployment. We see it manifest through underemployment, people having lost their homes, and really the kinds of devastation that sweeps through the community. I don't think you can find any community of faith right now whose revenues are not down. Not down because your membership is poor. And the fact is, as members get poorer, the church is poorer. So there is a definite relationship. Basically, loans were being written with the understanding that many of the people they were writing loans to would never ever be able to pay that back. And so right now where we are is not just a Wall Street meltdown, but it has become a global meltdown. That is the kind of climate that we exist in right now, and so we got to be aware of what's going on around us and realize that there's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
We're still fighting the same battle.
Well, I'm a native of Washington, D.C., born and raised. Our church is in Laurel. We were once in Lanham for a minute. International Worship Center is just what it is. It's, as we say, international. We focusing on trying to not just be your typical basic church. Our goal is to try to reach out and be diverse in our relationship, in our message, in our styles. You know, when the money gets tight, people lose their jobs. Folks start thinking more about their family.
Right.
Before they think about the extended family. And in that regard, it impacts the church. It hasn't been detrimental to us. It's caused us to have to, you know, change a few things, but overall it's been good. If you're going to make it through these kind of hard times, you know, history has taught us in every depression, Great Depression, the thing that have thrived is the entrepreneur, and it has been the individuals that have found ways to diversify themselves, even down to basic banking. Understanding to invest, how to make your money work, all that's important. Very, very important. Budgeting, even down to basic banking. Understanding to invest, how to make your money work, all that's important. Well, you got to know how to work with money. And if you don't know how, well, you're going to waste it, you're going to spend it, you're going to lose it. Well, our goal is real basic. We're starting in the month of March what we call a Life Academy. One of our goals is to improve upon our education component. And I believe that it's important that we teach folks how to do things with their hands, whether it's IT, whether it's our gentleman here is doing filming, whether it's, you know, building something, working with your hands, whatever that trade is. We want to teach you how to do it, but then we got to teach you ethics. We got to teach you how to operate in a professional environment. All of that is important. So those are my two primary goals for this year. You have got to forget about the past failures and look at them as experiences and keep on going. We don't have time to sit and just worry about what I lost, what I broke. Figure it out. Educate yourself, and then just do it. I think what you have to do as young people is you have to continue to look out for mentors. You guys are the ones who have the answers. The truth of the matter is the answers are on the inside of our young people.
When I was a child, my father and mother taught us to give 10% to God and save 10%, and not to live beyond your means. And if young people would just learn to, like I said, live within their means. And one other thing, the children need to respect each other. Our race cannot blame another race for what we are not doing. We got to look at how society looks at the youth today. And we need to change the image that they have. Our young men, they get hung up on trying to earn a fast buck illegitimately. And you know what I'm talking about. Get a legitimate job.
A lot of things have changed in a not so positive way. So what changes have you seen in our youth?
I would say try to stay more positive. If the youth today would stop killing each other with these guns. Guns are too accessible to the youth. Nowadays, the youth, bam, bam, they want to shoot somebody. Once you're gone, there's no coming back. You know, pray without ceasing. Keep the Lord first. That's another key.
I am Pastor Jamal Bryant of the Empowerment Temple in Baltimore, Maryland. Greatly. Much of what we see working class are really affected the most. The people that I pastor know exactly how much it costs to fill up their tank, how much is a gallon of milk, how much it's going to cost for them to provide lunch for their children for the week. And so when you look at particularly Baltimore, there's 72% African American, and you drive through in Baltimore alone, there are 2,000 abandoned homes. Over 18 million people in America are living underneath of the poverty level. 68% of Americans don't have a savings account. I think it's very important, and regrettably, I didn't have financial literacy growing up. When I went to college, it's very significant to know in America there's more credit card, more student loan debt than there is credit card debt. Mm-hmm. So I think that the earlier we started, really, middle school should begin the foundation of it. And so I applaud our state controller for what he's doing, and not just for the schools to do it, but the churches need to practice it as well. Mm-hmm. Is every person who's a child of God ought to have at least more than one stream of income, and you ought to have dominion over a piece of property. That poverty is not just about finance. It's not about money. Poverty at its very core is the definition of a lack of options. So I think when you teach that and instill that to our children, that you want them to have options, that's what wealth is. I think entrepreneurship is the absolute key for wealth for our community. We are the only minorities in America who have not mastered entrepreneurship.
I'm Russ Parr. I am an incredible radio personality, film director, writer, producer, and a taxi cab driver for my kids on the weekend.
So what are your thoughts on financial literacy, and how important do you think this is in our youth's lives?
I think the big problem is that we need to make it mandatory before you graduate from high school or even college, that you have somebody that can give you financial advice. I think it's so important that we get young folks to understand how to balance a checkbook at an early age, to understand the stock market. And that's why it's so important that, you know, this is a life lesson that needs to be taught about finances and being protective of your credit rating.
Right.
That's so important.
So you, as a radio personality, what advice could you give us to continue our movement and our mission?
Well, I think you're doing it right now, and sometimes you got to do what you got to do,
right?
You know, in order to get where you need to go.
Right.
They believe in peace in between heaven and hell.
Just like those guys with
like their setting is just different. I mean, Catholic.
They just believe in. They have certain different beliefs.
Right.
And sometimes they pray to you guys. Is it Mary?
What do you mean?
Catholics.
Mary.
They pray to Mary.
Jesus and Mary.
Do you pray to Mary? And ask
yeah.
You pray to Mary.
And with the rosary beads in your hand and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I have rosary beads in my car. And people be like, "Are you Catholic?" And I'm like, "No, I'm Christian." And they be like, "Well, why do you have a rosary?" And I be like, "Because Jesus Christ is on the cross, and I'm Christian. I love Jesus Christ. So why wouldn't I have a rosary?"
Yeah.
And that's why it's like I never really fully understood the difference between a Catholic and a Christian. I know it's
the Catholics are.
I'm going to call up Reverend Agler.
Yeah.
You know something. I want to thank everybody for being here. Amen. Because I think it's important that we make this witness, because I know that this is being telegraphed back to the company. They don't want this to be really seen and heard, but that's okay. It's going to be seen and heard because we know, one, we've been here, and two, those inside who are struggling for a decent and fair contract, they know we've been here, and the manager of this store know we've been here, and we're going to let folks know that what's going on out here can happen all over the region because we are not going to turn our back on our neighbors. The fact is, employees or workers, they live in our neighborhoods, they live next door, they live down the street, because what's happening is that all these corporate entities, let's be honest about it, have made more money during a recession by laying off folk and by basically ripping off people. They made profits. They want to continue to make profits and build those profits. That's all right. How much is enough? And these corporations have decided that it is never enough. So we're here to say that we are joined together communities is this idea of loving your neighbor.
That's right.
And so we're saying these are our neighbors.
Yes.
We love them.
Yes.
And that is with our neighbor that we're going to choose to stand.
Yes.
It's with our neighbor that we're going to choose to support.
Yes.
It's our neighbor that we're going to choose to stand on the side of justice with them.
Yes.
It's our neighbor. If it comes down to a fight, we're going to stand with our neighbor. And that is where we stand. We can do no other.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
Love thy neighbor. Thank you.
Hi, how are you? My name is Raja Hilliard, and I'm here being interviewed by the Katie Abel Foundation.
Good afternoon, my name is Rico Hilliard. I'm the oldest one out of the bunch. And yes, we're twins, and I'm here as well being interviewed.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say it was only 3 minutes apart. I had peace for 3 minutes.
Yeah. So as two young successful leaders, can you briefly walk us around you all's title and what you guys are doing?
Yes, ma'am. Would you like to go first?
Sure. I do a lot throughout my school. I serve as the honor guard commander of my school. I also serve as the execution drill team commander. That's the commander of the armed team. We spend rifles similar to looking at the Marines or the Air Force National Guard. I also serve as the Prince George's Regional Association Student Government Vice President, first Vice President. What we do is we work with student governments within our county, Prince George's County. We work with middle schools and high schools. We each come together and meet on different issues, different board policies, different things going on that affect our students, affect us as students.
Well, actually, our things are kind of similar since we spend a lot of time together. But at my school, I'm currently 17 years old as well. I attend Occidental High School. I'm a senior, about to graduate with aspirations of preaching the gospel around the world. I currently, at Occidental High School, I'm currently the wing training officer, in which I oversee about 18 individuals, which are flight commanders, and they teach the different students within the classroom setting. So I have the opportunity of meeting a lot of the different youth and a lot of different subordinates underneath me and teach them different skills and different techniques within the Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. I'm also a part of the East Coast chapter of Tuskegee Airmen. I have dreams of also flying. I'm not sure if I'm going to finish it or not, but I do still have the dream of doing it. I'm currently also the president of my Bible study, God's Peculiar People at school, in which we have normal kind of church service. We start off with praise and worship, then we start off with the vision and prayer and go straight into the word. I believe I'm called to preach the gospel, so that's my desire to pretty much do that. I also am a teacher, and I do a lot of different things with uplifting my youth and fellow peers around the area. And because we all are called to preach the gospel.
Right. So what inspired you to want to do that?
The love of God, really. Yeah. This pretty much encountering who I am in Christ and encountering who Christ is in my life, and that, you know, initiated me to actually start going out and telling people about the love of my life, Jesus.
What other things are you guys doing to uplift the youth in this community?
Okay, well, I currently intern with Congresswoman Donna Edwards, and there being an intern, I've been interning since the summertime, and they asked me to come back during the fall, and I'm still here during the springtime as well. And we help with veteran affairs, immigration. I'm able to become exposed to the different things that random people are struggling with in our society. So that's one thing that I'm doing. We're also a part of different ministries at our church, such as Fisher the Men or the Visitation Ministry. And there we go and the Visitation Ministry, we go and we visit sick games, people that are shut in and sick in our community. We also go and give back to our different communities when it's Thanksgiving time, Christmas time, Easter time, just different things like that.
So you both agree that being civically involved is an important thing that us as the youth we need to stress to other youth, that becoming community involved is something that we really need to start, doing.
Yeah, we become better individuals when we're exposed to different things. And if one individual, one team can just decide that I'm going to go out and do some community service, that puts exposure to them and it puts exposure to those they become encountered with, whether it be adults or teens.
Well, a lot of times within this generation and this society, I would like to call it, for lack of a better phrase, an identity crisis. A lot of different teens aren't able to express themselves how they want to express themselves. And within the society and where we are right now, a lot of different times it's just being influenced by the next person. You know, I'm your boy, so this is what we gonna do and stuff like that. Or for the ladies and stuff, I gotta put off this false impression or this false image to get other people to feel, you know, I'm satisfied and stuff like that. So those are the different challenges and the different things that we encounter. But with us, we have encountered our identity. So now it's per se going into these different environments and trying to affect the youth and affect and influence them to be who they want to be who they're called to be, and not allow, you know, others to influence their identity, but for their own personal identity to influence others to become their own identity.
You both are very, very, you know where you're going and what you want. So what advice would you share with other youth that they just don't know and they want to fit in, they want to be something that they're not?
I would say, you know, we got to think of just in the past, our history. You got to think about Martin Luther King. You got to think about President Obama. You got to think about, who can we say? Thurgood Marshall. You just got to think about people in the past and just see how they became individuals. They became their own individual. They didn't settle for things going on in their schools. They didn't settle for things that their parents may have said or things that their friends may have said or just associates might have said. They went and they took a stand for themselves. So we, just as teenagers or youth, we have to make a decision that we're going to be an individual. We're going to do the right thing and not make it hard on ourselves later on in life. If we start now by being our own individual, doing good things, deciding, making goals, making steps, making plans for our success, later on in life, we can look back and say, oh, well, I did a good thing, instead of telling about, oh, I wish I could have did this, wish I could have did that. So what I can only stress is becoming an individual, standing up for what you believe in, speak your mind, but make sure you speak it at appropriate times, and also take feedback from other people. When people give you, when people give you suggestions, when people are trying to help you out, actually really listen to what they're saying. Like, feed off of what they're saying and just use the good from what they're saying and make you a better person. Also listen to Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror, and help you out. Look at who you are in the mirror and actually see who you are and make a change.
We as youth, we are significant. We have, you know, we have a purpose in life. And you are loved, and you can be whoever you want to be, and you have dreams and aspirations that you can act upon. And just for advice, you know, look around the people that you hang out. You know, I've always been told that you look at your two closest friends and stuff, and that's pretty much who you are. That's pretty much where you're going to go in life. So begin to surround yourself around the people that are going to take you further into life, take you further into reaching your goals. And as you know, follow those people, well, not follow those people, but allow those people to influence you in a positive mindset and a positive standpoint, then you will reach your goals. Because I believe in order for each and every one of us to reach our goals, we have to have encouraging people around us. And just be a leader. Don't allow anything to back you down. Don't allow fear to back you down. Stand up and be proud of who you are and be proud of what you believe in and go forth.
So I just want to thank you guys for your wonderful interview. I myself am impressed, very much so. So thank you guys for your interview. We hope that we see you guys in the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, like, with all that's going on today, like, would you ever, like, want to go back in your past and change anything and make it different?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think everybody would say that they wish that they could go back into their past and change things.
Yeah, because I know it's hard right now because you're still in a situation. And
well, definitely. I mean, first and foremost, you have to keep praying. You have to have faith, and you have to keep praying.
Yeah.
Because without God's grace, I wouldn't be.
Exactly.
Presently, because of financial hardship with the recession and with my family responsibilities and being the sole person to have to take care of all this, I have said, you know, I have to have life-work balance, you know, and I have to be realistic about life and take care of top priority. So I have to make some changes and embrace change. I am constantly going back to the past only to look at what worked and what didn't work. For years I've heard, you know, do your passion, do what you love, you know, and give back. I want to go back and give, you know, and do those things in the past that worked. So Katie Abel Foundation has helped me tremendously get to where I'm at, and I'm still standing. You know, a lot of your decisions in life, you have to be held accountable and stuff, but they all come back to money. You know, money has a big impact on that. Keeping the priorities straight and constantly going back. God first, lots and lots of prayer. I got resources and support system like Katie Abel, like being able to talk and share with you this documentary and let somebody else know.
I think God blessed me to find the Katie Abel Foundation because it certainly moves in my life. So when people ask me, I normally say, God.
Yeah, very good. I'm so proud of Katie Abel Foundation for their work to enlighten and to inform people.
What words of wisdom can you share with our youth in leading our futures and becoming successful leaders?
You know, this is a spiritual community, so I always tell them, you know, regardless of what you believe and how you believe it, you put God first. I think that's something that we must all understand the importance of that and let Him lead the way. Now, He gives you the ability to think. He gives you the ability to think about what you do and how to do it. Always take advantage and internalize your thinking. And after you finish doing some good thinking, do some better planning. Planning gives you the opportunity to write down your thought, put it on the wall and say this is a goal. Once thoughts become goals, they become plans. Once plans become plans and they on your wall, they become actions. Once the actions become the essence of your thought and your plan, your success is somewhere down that road.
We hope you guys enjoyed today's show, but before we leave you, you know we got to give you today's financial tip, and that is, if you're going to spend money, spend it wisely. Invest.
And don't forget to like us on Facebook and check us out on Twitter at Katie Abel.
And again, I'm Zane Marshall.
And I'm Leandra Banks.